we finally meet. Type in something down below and just tell me you said hello and give me a general feeling of where you're from. And I asked a guy one time, I said, where are you from? He said, I'm from a middle class background. Where are you from? So that's kind of cute. Where are you from? Where are you from? Uh, so let me introduce myself. Uh, I'm using the name Red Zeppelin to bridge two opposite sides of a river. That is who I am. The red is to honor the indigenous blood of this land and the indigenous blood of Scotland, the indigenous blood of France and Africa and China, the indigenous blood. And the Zeppelin is to represent the part of me that is empire. I live in Seneca country, Silver Creek Village. I live on an old two-story wood, built like a battleship, a two-story house near the top of a hill overlooking the Grand Erie Lake. And just a few hundred yards from the rail line that goes from Buffalo and around through that, I'm sure, through Canada, along the shoreline of the Grand Erie Lake. And this is, I'm not born here, I've lived here. My son, my youngest son, who is a chef, moved here with his fiance and their little family of many, and they're in the house. And right before the lockdown, I decided to come visit up here. Now I ride around on a motorcycle, so I left my motorcycle in the state of my birth, which is Florida, and took the bus up here. Had a nice time, and I got up here in early January on one of the worst days of weather in the last 100 years. And I arrived over from Florida, and I was shocked. My body was shocked by the cold and the wind and the blizzard. And then the lockdown came, then the virus came, and then because of my age, because of my certain pre-existing health things, I really was abundantly careful, and I kind of stayed up here with my son and his wonderful fiance and their three children and two guinea pigs, three cats, one beagle, and a grumpy old man. So I decided to communicate with you because I want to encourage you to communicate with me. I'm going to be taking a little hike today, and I'm going to take the little camera and the beagle, and we're going to go look and see if we can find some beautiful leaves changing. And oh, I'm 67. My birthday's this month. Born 1954. Got three grown sons. A filmmaker who's just turned his early 40ish, and then my middle son who has a wonderful job, and then my youngest son who is a chef. And so I followed the chef, and my oldest son lives on the West Coast. He's married. My middle son, he lives wonderfully, and him and his bride and their child are happy and wonderful. And he's very successful in his field, and so is she. And so is my oldest son. He's like one of the best in the world, and his bride is, in work she does, is considered the very best in the world. And they're all young, and they're all very honest people, and very hardworking people, and very loving people, and caring. And you can see that in their life and their artwork. I'm very happy for them. I wanted my children to, my three sons, to live a life of honor and respect, and live a life dedicated to bringing life to the community, and they're doing that, and they're loved by everybody. Everybody that loves them. I run up to people. I'll meet people that know them, and they'll go like, "Oh my God, your child is so wonderful." But that's all a father can beg for, and beg for, and uh, we all carry baggage in our blood, in our spirit, in our environment. We carry things. We're born into things. Uh, my life found me at one time at Standing Rock on Backwater Bridge, facing a small army that was firing water cannons at me and all of my people around me. And we were on this bridge. We were there and we held that bridge from dusk till dawn, November 20th, 2016, at Standing Rock. My life had put me there on that bridge, fighting the empire, fighting the oil industry, fighting the bank industry, fighting the conquest of Native Americans, fighting for the Lakota Sioux, specifically the Standing Rock, but generally all of the tribes and nations of the Great Sioux people, and then greatly for all Native American people and all their allies, as well as the whole environmental thing, which is, some people fault the pipeline 100% for that, but I'm not going to speak for them, but they did not fight it 100% for that. It was about treaty rights. It was about sovereign nation. And the Lakota understand that, but it was hard for colonialists to learn. And somebody asked me when I came back from that, says, would you have gone there if you didn't have any native blood? Because I still do believe that I have Native American blood. And it's not to say that I have something special. It's just to say that somebody who carried life to me was 100%, 100% Native American. Excuse me, be right back. They were 100% Native American. Their parents were 100% Native American. And they faced us Europeans in something that probably wasn't planned. They married. Somebody could have been forced to have a child. Somebody could have been forced to have conception. And I was told as a child by my grandmother, my great uncle, my great aunt, and some cousins, but not everybody in my family, that we had native blood, specifically Timucua. Now that's on my mother's side. On my father's side, I heard a little bit of stories. It's not like we were a people that were running around trying to pretend that we were Indians. We were Irish and English. We knew that. And we had some kind of myth in the family. And that myth bridged me to see natives as, hey, how you doing, cousin? How you doing, friend? I had an openness, and a pre-expectation that every native was my friend. I had built in myself a bias of friendship, of fair judgment toward native people who I'd never met before or was just meeting. A bias in favor of encouragement. And so that led me through circumstances to what, 16, almost 4 years ago, yeah, that I was at Standing Rock, and I was fighting the pipeline, and I was facing blizzards, and I was facing water cannons, and I was facing, as I stood with Native Americans in the cold, why was I there? What, did I have a dog in the fight here? Did I have a dog in this fight? I felt my ancestors, that one person. I was shining light on them. I was letting them speak, and I went there and I called upon that person I did not know, saying, I'm here for you. And you, hundreds of years later, or 150 years later, or 250 years later, you, that one person who was full blood with two full blood parents, who spoke the language, whose name has been forgotten, and I wanted to let you sing, let you come and fight, be on the front line. And I was there because of environmental things, but that was like my fourth reason. Yes, anyway. And a friend asked me very critically, he says, what if you found out, why don't you take a DNA test, Casey, and find out if you're Native American, find out if you have any blood. And then I want you to think about it. I want you to think about, does that change your bias? Was that myth what took you there? And with the myth gone, what would you do? What will you do now? What would you have done then if that myth wasn't so strong? So I took the DNA test. Not immediately. Had to have a couple of other reasons. My own selfish reason to take the DNA test. That's a privilege. That's a privilege. But to test myself, I wanted to test myself. I wanted to go like, gosh, no, I wanted to know. And the guy was right. Because in everything I do, I'm judging myself, I'm judging you, I'm judging them. We constantly are making judgments. Should I wear these heavy socks? Should I wear the flip-flops? Should I marry that girl? Should I run like hell? I'm constantly, should I watch ABC, CBS? I mean, it just goes on. I'm constantly just a waterfall of decisions I'm making. I'm judging, I'm setting biases. I'm focusing on what I think the truth is. And if I focus on wrong things, I'll be really going wrong ways. So I took the DNA test, blah, 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 blah. When you sign up, you send it out there, and they say it's going to come to you in about 6 weeks. In the meantime, you have access to all of our records, and you can start building your family tree. And every time, like I put my dad's name in, and then I can search, and it'll tell me who his dad was. And you keep going, and you keep going. And I'm very fortunate in this aspect to have had. There is a paper trail that goes back on my father's side, on my mother's side, and then on my grandparents, on grandma's side and grandpa's side, and the 4 grandparents, and then the 8 great. There's a lot of records. Now, as I'm waiting for the test results to be analyzed and returned, and me to get my email notification, I started doing all that research. I started just typing stuff up in there. It makes it real easy. And I was looking for, well, where's the Indian? We're going to find out where the Indian is. And I think it's on this side of the family, or I think it's over here. And I couldn't find anybody that said, hey, man, until one person in South Carolina, Tuscarora. They were people that were in South Carolina. They were part of they were related to the Seneca. They had migrated at one time to the coast of down to South Carolina, North Carolina. They were Iroquois. These are an Iroquois tribe migrated and were down in North Carolina, South Carolina. And in the marriage records, it says this one woman, it says her name was Orpha, Orpha, Tuscarora. And we can't find a mother and father for her. And right at that time, the research is that tribe was getting a lot of bullets from the Europeans, and they didn't really have a lot of hundreds of thousands of euros connections and bonds and treaties and alliances built up over centuries with the other tribes in South Carolina, North Carolina. So when the Europeans said, I'm going to live here, they had to fight the Tuscarora. The Tuscarora said, okay, let's go back up to the Iroquois. And they left. And you know, with migrations today, it's hard to get everybody to meet the bus on time. So, for some reason, a Tuscarora woman became associated with our family, and we became associated with her blood. So, that's all I could find. But I kept going back all the way and everything. It hit this person and researched their family. You go, boom, okay, then it goes back to this. And I'm a lot more Scottish. I mean, and when the blood thing came back, it also said, I have no native blood. It says. And it also said I have 1% West African. In the bend of Africa, that little area, Bantu, there's some other tribes there, but there's a lot of people that have that area. I don't know what's going on with that. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. But I the So there's no Native American blood recognized in the one test by Ancestry.com. There's the one test, and there's no like notice of that. I don't know if a second or a third would be different, or a second or third company would be different. So we're, we're just going to go there. But what I was really surprised was the Scottish. I'm mostly Scottish. I'm about like a third from comparable with the people of Scotland. That's what I'm a third of. Not like because Scottish is what's Scottish? Is that the Picts? Is that the Vikings? Is that the Normans? Is that the Anglos? Scotland only recently has been Scotland. So, so I've got connections to, and this is like grandparents. It's not cousins. It's a great grandparent that signed the Plymouth Rock Covenant. Came over on and landed and settled at Plymouth Rock. That first family, and then we've got. Well, this doesn't. I'm trying to brag about that and everything, but I'm just going. A guy from Plymouth Rock ended up at Standing Rock, and that's another branch goes grandfather to father to grandfather, father, grandfather to the Stuarts of Scotland and England. And once you get into the Stuart line, it's just like the paper trail is very clear. So it goes back to a Knights Templar in France who fought on the Crusades with the King of England. And when he went back to England, he said, "You're a great fighter or politician or something." Or he's got great money. But the king brought that Knights Templar fella from France when he came back from the Crusade, brought him to England and made him a close ally and gave him the office of Sheriff of Shropshire, which basically protected England from any problems in Wales. This guy was over in Wales and he was the sheriff. And then his son became, of the sheriff, that guy became a sheriff. He inherited the sheriff, and then his son became a steward of Scotland. And yada, 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 became James the Second and James the First and James the Sixth, the King of England, the first King of Scotland to be King of England. And James is the James whose name is on all those books in motel rooms. The King James authorized Bible of the church. But I like that from Plymouth Rock to Standing Rock. So that's a little bit just who I am, and raised in Northern Virginia. Artist. I had a company called this. A publisher. Radio, television producer, big events, music events, music festivals, soccer coach, soccer player, rugby coach, guitar player, Eagle Scout, Raised in Northern Virginia a lot. I'm a seventh generation European in Florida. Went to the University of Mississippi. So just anyway, just trying to say hi. And I think you should do, everybody should do a say hi thing on their channel. Why not? It's great practice for if you ever get interrogated or something. It's how to stay calm underneath a red light looking at you. But anyway, let's go on a hike. We're going on a hike today. I'm going to take you guys along. And I got to get a few things ready for that. So you get ready. We're going to go look at the leaves. We're going to go look at the leaves.